So would it be ethically responsible for a company to make a decision that in the face of doing potentially doing harm to the residents, that they would defer their construction until such time that there was evidence that they would be doing no harm?
Fine with that. Fine with that.
So what we're saying, though, is it responsible for your company to proceed with the construction and be party to the construction of these potentially harmful machines until such time as there is evidence that they're not harmful?
I hope there is evidence as fast as possible, as soon as possible.
We're talking about your company's ethical responsibility to defer construction of these potentially dangerous and harmful machines. That's what we're talking about. In view of the fact that there is no body of evidence, and in view of the fact that the Ministry of Environment, despite their behavior, acknowledges, on the basis of precautionary principle, that we must not proceed with the project when there is a question.
And they should stop all the development. The government should stop it. I'm fine with it. If they And they should stop all the development. The government should stop it. I'm fine with it. If they
So you were saying to me that you will proceed as long as any regulation permits, despite its ethics, despite the potential...
As long as there's no proof, as long as there's no hard proof, I will proceed.
I'm suggesting that the Ministry of the Environment is proceeding to give you the go-ahead on construction inappropriately because it contravenes the precautionary principle on which they function. We will not proceed on the project until such time as there is, if there is any...
So what? I don't make
So what?
So
Is that
what?
I'm not asking you about a question about how the government is behaving. I'm not asking you a question. I'm asking you a question about your behavior. I'm asking your company's behavior. I'm asking, will your company redirect itself to appropriate ethical behavior and stop the proceeding towards the construction of these potentially harmful machines?
We will go ahead.
So, I beg your pardon?
We will go ahead.
So, I beg your pardon?
We will go ahead.
We will go ahead. That you will not acknowledge the ethical dilemma.
We will. But the thing is...
You will acknowledge the ethical dilemma. That means you will acknowledge it and you'll proceed unethically. That's, I guess, the conclusion that we come to.
It's not our decision. It's not our decision.
It's very much your decision.
If we stop, other companies won't stop.
What's the difference? I'm not talking. Then I'll have an evening and I'll chat with them. I'm talking about you and your company.
I personally will go ahead.
So the question is then, if the government has made the regulation with inadequate knowledge,
Okay.
and if the company recognized that a regulation, albeit was made on inadequate knowledge,
Okay.
that would seem to me to be unethical and immoral to proceed to conduct business in a way which could potentially put people at harm.
Well, you know, the way I see it is, we're trusting that the government has done their work, and so when whatever the government, let's say the government proposed a 2-kilometer setback. So I mean, that's just the process that we're following.
So trusting is a very curious word. Curious. When I would engage, I would think in business that has potential health harm effects. I would be anxious to obtain as much information as I could, independently, to know that those who have made decisions have done so appropriately, not trust that they've done so appropriately. And I'm suggesting that that is so simple to do, that it would be totally unreasonable for anybody not to do that. Then would it not be reasonable to explore whether there is any evidence that there is no harm?
You know, that's not the work that we're involved in, right? Like we're not conducting medical studies.
And you're not conducting medical studies because you feel they have no importance?
Well, I'm certain. I don't think anybody's qualified in our office to. I guess that's a question for doctors.
Would you consider outsourcing?
Yeah. So you say your company is not equipped to determine whether there is potential medical harm to residents of the neighborhood. Would that be then? I'm concluding that just from what you're saying.
Well, I mean, this is becoming extremely complicated. I'm just trying to keep track of everything in my mind here.
I think the irony is that it's fundamentally extremely simple.
Go for it.
Okay, I have asked 3 people that I found work for this company, and my question was, do you live in close proximity to one of these turbines? All answers were no.